A few. In a word or two, was it good, bad, or ugly?
If you're not having fun, you're not doing it right.
That's right.
Two years of drafts and aggravation and depositions and papers back and forth and charges and Mayor Phil Gordon angry at you doing things. It's not necessarily fun.
Yeah, my brother and I did a lawsuit against Maricopa County for elections back in 1997. It was 3 years. They dismissed the case, but it got all the way to the Supreme Court, and it didn't get any publicity then. Back in 1997, people didn't believe that computers could actually flip the votes and create vote fraud, but it brought about awareness.
And how did it affect you personally? Did you guys see this over here?
It was a lot of time and effort and our own money, and we couldn't get people like the Institute for Justice or anybody else to help us. But now with my current lawsuit, I'm suing the city of Tempe and the Attorney General for the photo radar issue. And so I'm looking ahead at possibly some significant time in discovery and so forth. But a lot of people believe that they're going to want to settle because most of my evidence is a matter of public record, and I've got a lower court victory, which has propelled me into the federal court.
And Phoenix might decide to settle as well. What was your point?
Well, I took on the city of Mesa back in '94, and it was because I did it all myself. It was pure Hades, but it did get a ton of publicity because we put a cartoon that we put in the voter thing of showing the city of Mesa as a king with one fat person and a skinny person on his knees, one starving, which was private enterprise, and the fat one being the government. And because they wouldn't print it in the publicity panel, they put it on the front page of the paper. So the publicity was kind of worth it, I thought.
How did it affect you personally?
Oh, it took up a year and a half of my time because I had to do all the legal.
So when everybody says, sue the bastages, you're putting up 2 years of my time. My dad said,
go ahead.
Alan is going to take away from your business, and instead of promoting my book, which I should be doing here, I'm talking to you about a case that does nothing but, maybe it elevates my stature some, it will definitely garner publicity, but I'm really concerned about that drain on me and what that's going to be. Yes, sir.
Well, that's what I was going to get to, is that in the consideration of the potential personal costs to you, as a minor celebrity, locally and even nationally, to whatever that is worth towards the continuation of your business and your salability, this has the potential to increase your panache, your celebrity status, and that could affect your bottom line.
There is an upside and there is a downside, and I think the publicity side is unfathomably large. Yes, sir.
I think the question of
Can you hear him?
concern to you is a little overblown because the Goldwater Institute is going to do the hard work. The rest of it is a few interviews you'll have to do with them. That's all.
Well, that is one of the saving graces, and this is something to keep in mind if you ever get in this. This would not be a consideration if the Goldwater Institute wasn't going to do it. This is one of the finest team of civil rights litigators in the country with resources and the ability to do it, and they plan to be here for the long haul. They're doing it not because of me, and not because of my posters, but because the city should not embroil free speech in any of this nonsense they're doing, and they think this is a good case on which to do that.
I would never
Yes.
give this away.
What if you had a free assistant that could be liaison between you and
You're volunteering to be my free assistant as a liaison?
I absolutely am, in terms of getting you to get all the stuff together to give to the law firm.
I love it. She needs a round of applause. We're going to Tom. Did you have something?
I was saying, would it the best course be for you to get negotiate with the city, say, look, you're going to lose. We got the Goldwater Institute, we got all the cities around us that are carrying the thing. You're the odd man out. You know, we'll let you put up this big apology front page thing.
And pay us a modest fee for our trouble.
And we'll go away. Otherwise, you're going to be.
No.
Frank's passing a hat for cash. Get it out.
Okay, one second. His point is a really good one. Could you hear him in the back?
No.
He said, why don't you approach the city and say, look, you're going to lose. We got all these power brokers. The facts are on our side. The case is here. You're screwed. So print a great big apology. Maybe give us a little money to salve our wounds, and we'll go away. The city may offer that. In fact, I suspect the city will offer that because they're screwed on this. It's gonna cost them a lot of money to defend denial of free speech. That ain't gonna go well, especially in this political environment. The legislature's talking about I'll get to it. The legislature's talking about holding their feet to the fire. The city may do that anyway. If we do that, and it's not an impossible choice, but then we get what we want, and all the rest of you suckers are still subject to the city's bogus nonsense. And I like freedom. I've been working for this for a long time. I want to see this happen. I can't abandon. How do I abandon this and live with myself? But they will probably offer that. Now, if it was $100 grand, that'd be hard to turn down.
No, but if you get them to change their policies.
And an apology on all the networks, and on the other side of every billboard we have.
And you fire
That
that
would
one
be
guy,
tempting.
and they fire the one guy behind the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariscal has to go. Which brings up another thing. This is a gun issue, free speech. So the gun thing complicates the free speech. As one of the guys at Goldwater said, look, if this case doesn't go forward, if you decide not to, if we find a fatal flaw in the approach, then we save our powder for another day. Maybe there'll be a better free speech issue that is even more winnable, that's about little children in wheelchairs and free speech, that's better than guns save lives and free speech, although from my perspective, maybe not. But that could happen, yes, sir.
To live with yourself, to me, that kind of motivates me, but not enough to get involved in it, I guess. But there's a guy out of Scottsdale, Harlan Jacobson, had Arizona Single Scene paper. If I recall it right, Scottsdale was saying, you can't put your magazine racks on our sidewalks, it's offensive, or something like that. So to me, it's not a matter of guns or not, it's do you have the freedom and to do it, and who's that guy behind the screen? Fire them, and take their...
It's definitely a free speech issue, and the guy behind the screen is the arbitrary nature of the decision. He makes up his mind.
So the principle that involved is, I don't see how they would have, I'm not a lawyer, how they would have anything to stop you from doing it.
Well,
And don't be a victim of intimidation, obviously.
You want the precedent, you not only want, you not
You
only
want the
want
precedent.
Phoenix to stop doing it,
Yeah,
you want
you
everybody
really-
to be prohibited.
that's right. But what you do is you stop Phoenix and the other cities see it, so they stop because they know they'll be subject to the same limits. The same way Flagstaff T-shirts changed Maricopa County.
I didn't
And that was
finish that. He
the-
did, he eventually won, but it took years and years, and it opened it up for the other magazines to put their racks out on the public side. I don't think it was Phoenix, I think it was strictly Scottsdale, but it could have been both cities.
So it does it for all. Yes, sir.
Alan and I had talked about this before during a lot of the process of the actual passing of the legislation for concealed and all this other stuff. Dean and a lot of the guys, activists from back in the day, and Michael, remember we have an organization called SAFE, Second Amendment is for Everyone. We have, you go secondamendmentisforeveryone.com, .org, Second Amendment is for Everyone, special edition on Freedom's Phoenix. It's sitting there ready. If they don't do this, I would love to put the same hard-on thing, and it'd be, instead of AZ Trade Me, it'd be safe, okay? So the thing is if you don't do this, oh, can I?
On that note, I'm going to refill this. I'll be back in a second. Talk.
Second Amendment is for everyone. Hats, shirts, we have the silk screens for it, everything, in anticipation of this. When Alan was talking to me at the beginning of the summer and so on about this, I thought he had a great idea. You have the marketing necessary for the industry that was created by firearms, but it was kind of a forced thing, and I think there's a much larger industry out there. Just last weekend, my daughter-in-law, one of her friends, went with their small new handguns and got training. If it was required and all this other stuff, I'm not sure that they would have done it then. The thing is that this market is huge. I'm glad that Alan did this. I'm supportive of it. I still got this constitutional, the very person I want to have a gun for is the man, except when he comes up, I got to give it to him. So I'm like, calling it constitutional kind of rubs me the wrong way.
You're a pussy, and here's why. You have a gun, I'm the man. Sir, I'll have to take custody of that weapon. What do? You say you hand it to me. You're a pussy.
No, I'll do exactly the way you said. Hey, it's safer where it's at. Under what condition do you have? I need them to exercise their state force against me. I'm not going to voluntarily give it to them.
Sir, if you don't give me your weapon, I'll have to handcuff you and arrest you.
There it is, man.
See, what the founders did when, you can have my gun from my cold dead fingers, which is not really a good philosophy.
Yeah, see, that doesn't call it, that doesn't make it constitutional.
Sure it does.
I'm a pussy, so it's constitutional.
Alive.
Right, yeah, I'll be a live pussy. The thing is that,
Wait, what was that? Your gun thought the perp is mine?
Who's the perp? The guy's trying to take
Alan,
my
all
right.
that stuff is
Where
fine
is
in
the force of
semantics.
arms issue?
But in reality, for those of us that have been there, it's all bullshit. Because you can make any law you friggin' want. The cops are purely evil, the judges are all on the take, the prosecutors are as corrupt as Satan himself. We're screwed. That if you get attacked, let them fucking kill you. Because it is better than what the state will do if you survive it. And this is coming from somebody that knows better than anybody in this fucking country. So, you're saying something without saying the rest. You have the right to have a gun. You have the right to defend yourself. Our government don't give a fuck about your rights. And if you use your rights, they will screw up your life.
Right.
So you should give the caveat, the disclaimer, that yes, our government says you can do this, but if you do this, your life's over with, you will be miserable, they will wipe out your family like they did with
Here's
me.
where that changes. In Arizona, where there's a culture of marksmanship, we're going to the point in not too long where a cop comes up to Ernie and says, I see you're carrying that Glock 40. How do you like that gun? Instead of I'll have to take it. And we're going to move there.
okay, I just want to make one point before I sit down.
That's where we're
Okay,
going
just,
to get to.
That's
just
what
a
I want
moment,
to
just
get.
a moment.
Would that be constitutional, Karen?
Alan and I had this conversation on the radio and went at it. The thing is that we agreed, I hope, and that there would be legislation introduced this time to get Ernie a little bit more not so offended by calling it constitutional carry, okay? When the
I'm
government...
offended!
Yes, I am. So I just think it's dishonest. I think it's a propaganda. It's just exactly what the Fox News does. You say it enough times, it makes it so. It's not so, no matter how many times you say it.
Okay, so we agree to
So,
disagree.
so this is the, no, we have a solution. I thought you remember we had a solution.
What's the solution? Oh, we're going to introduce another law.
Alan said that while the law, to get this passed, law enforcement came in and said, fine, without us getting all up in arms and hating all you legislators or whatever, and pulling our endorsements, not putting your signs up anymore, we want to have the ability, when we say, give me your gun, you have to give me the gun. Under what conditions? Well, because I got a badge, all right? So, if he introduces this next legislative session, you hear it, Karen? You're getting this, right? Legislation that would not legally permit, allow, endorse a law enforcement or any government agent, because he's got a shiny badge, to come up to anybody without cause, without suspected of a crime, without you're doing something wrong, without a Molotov cocktail in your hand. I mean, without something, they can't come up and disarm you. The whole point of me being able to arm myself might be against a tyrannical government, and you have a law saying, yeah, but except when we don't want you to be armed, that's being tyrannical. So you got to take that ability out in the law before you even get me not the bitch about calling it constitutional.
Okay. So what we're going to do with constitutional carry this year.
God give him. Right.
Ernie's got a great point, and we're moving towards those laws. If you guys aren't members of the Arizona Citizens Defense League yet, AZCDL, Arizona Citizens Defense League, you need to join, because they're going to tell you which laws are being introduced that we're interested in on this subject, and who to call to get the laws to move, and look at the language ahead of time if you think it needs changing. That's why we got constitutional carry, AZCDL. Join it. That's where the strength and the power is, and it's totally grassroots. Let me get to the end of the billboard thing, and then I gotta go, because I got something else. Yes, ma'am.